In this video, we're going to be assembling another 3D printed watch. A very simple build that you can do at home. Now this watch is from our friend James Cox over at the Printable Watch. If you've seen my previous videos, I've had some with automatic and quartz movements in it, but this is the first one with a digital movement in it. It's actually an Arduino based movement. I've already assembled one of them, but I've got another one on the bench. Let me show you what we got. So let's go over what you need if you want to build one of these. And the beautiful thing about this is the easiest watch I think you can build. Primarily what you're going to need is the board itself. This is an Arduino based board, and this is from the Printable Watch. They sell these for a couple bucks. You're going to need a battery, a 38mm crystal, a watch strap, and then the case. Now the case portion here you can 3D print. And I have 3D printed a lot of cases. James actually sent me this one. This is 3D printed on a resin printer and is totally clear. I've always wanted to do a clear one, so he sent over a clear one. But I'm not going to be using these little bits. This is the kind of ring that holds the thing in place and the pushers, because I went and 3D printed these here at home with glow-in-the-dark filament, so I'm going to have a little bit of lume with this watch. So let's get this thing started, and we're going to start by getting some tools out. So let's go over what you're going to need if you want to build one of these for yourself. Now, the first thing you're obviously going to need is the board. This is an Arduino based board from the Printable Watch that James cooked up himself, and a battery to run the board. Additionally to that, you're going to need a crystal. These cases take a 38mm crystal, and you're going to need a case and some little parts here. Now, you can 3D print all of these at home. I don't have a resin printer, so they sent me a clear resin printed case. I've always wanted to do one of these. And they also sent over some of the interior components. That's the ring and the pushers. But those were made out of regular plastic. I want to add a little bit of lume, so I 3D printed these at home on my own. You're obviously also going to need a watch strap and a little bit of hardware. Now the beautiful thing about this is most watch builds, you need a lot of complicated tools. For this one, you really only need one. Now that's a small screwdriver to drive those screws. Having a tweezer is helpful, but not necessary. And one other thing you may need with these, I found this on my last build, was these buttons were just a tad big, so I wound up having to file these down a little bit with some sandpaper. But let's get started. Now, in the interest of cleanliness, and this is not a necessary step, I wear finger cots when I'm working with stuff because I don't want to leave greasy fingerprints on the inside of the watch. You all know what these look like, don't you? So let's clear some of this stuff out of the way. And we're going to start with our board. Now the board itself drops inside our little 3D printed ring here. And it should drop in there and fit pretty tight. With our board in place, we can now install our battery. Now our battery is installed, everything is lit up. We can put that to the side. Next we can install the crystal into our case. And this is the part you want to be really careful not to get fingerprints on things, because once you get fingerprints on these crystals, it is very hard to get them off. Now the one pointer I will give you, if you do realize you had fingerprints on them, Dawn dish soap and distilled water will take those right off and will not leave a film afterwards. The crystal just drops in place. You don't have to press this crystal in, it just drops in. Now we're going to get here and install the buttons, and these can be a little bit tricky to get lined up, but you just want to get them in there with the pushers poking out the side of the case. And they will probably fall out a couple times on you and drive you kind of crazy, but it's not too bad. Now with all 4 pushers installed, we're going to drop the unit right into the back. Now here is where, before you screw everything down, you want to check it. Now you'll notice on the case back there's a little bit of an opening there. That's going to go right over that. And then what I would recommend you do is take this thing, hold it together as tight as you can before you put screws in, and make sure these pushers all freely work. Because that was the issue I ran into with my last case, where I had to actually sand the pushers down a little bit. So now that we know they're all going to work, we can open up our screws and start putting everything together. Now one thing I ran into on the last case was you have to be careful because you're going into plastic, so you're kind of cutting your own threads on the first way in, but you want to make sure you don't over tighten these. So next up we have to install the straps. If you have never installed straps like this before, they kind of click in on one side, and then you can use your tweezers to push in the little plunger on this side. Now if you do happen to have a strap tool or a spring bar tool, it would obviously make this easier, but you don't really need one if you've got a set of tweezers. Since I have a spring bar tool, I'm going to use it. So we've got our strap installed. Now all you have to do is actually set the watch. And there is a great guide on the Printable Watch's YouTube channel, which I will have linked down below, that'll show you how to set this watch. Now if this kit you'd like to pick up on your own, you can get it as just the board and print your own parts, or you can order the parts with it and put this thing together at home. You can also order it with a programming board if you want to change the programming on this thing. All that is available through the Printable Watch. I'll have a link for all his stuff below. So if you like watches, like watch projects like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. This is the kind of stuff we do here. If you have any questions about this project, please leave a comment down below. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you're interested in these 3D printed watches, I will have a link to the Printable Watch and all of James's stuff over there. Hit that thumbs up, and of course, thanks for watching.